and welcome back to our channel. Today, we've got a super cute story for you that also teaches a really important lesson.
It's about a little squirrel named Sammy. And let me tell you, Sammy had a big problem. You see, Sammy was the busiest squirrel in the entire forest.
All through the sunny days of autumn, you could see him, a little brown blur, zipping up and down trees, his cheeks puffed out with acorns, walnuts, and all sorts of delicious nuts.
He was a champion collector.
He'd find the plumpest acorn and think, "This is perfect. I need to hide this somewhere safe for winter." Then he'd dash off, find a nice-looking spot under a big oak tree, and dig. He'd pop the acorn in, cover it up with dirt and leaves, pat it down with his little paws, and scamper off to find another treasure. A few minutes later, he'd find a crunchy walnut.
Ooh, a good one,
he'd chatter to himself. "I'll bury this one over by that patch of ferns." And so he did. He buried nuts under rocks, inside hollow logs, next to colorful mushrooms, and at the roots of tall pine trees. He buried them everywhere. His logic was simple. The more places he hid his food, the safer it would be. No one could possibly find all his secret stuff. He was so proud of himself, working so hard from sunrise to sunset. He never stopped to make a list or draw a map. Maps are for silly birds. He'd giggle. "My super squirrel brain will remember everything." The days grew shorter, and a chilly wind began to whip through the forest, shaking the last of the colorful leaves from the branches. The first delicate snowflakes started to fall, blanketing the ground in a soft, white layer. Winter had arrived. Sammy snuggled in his cozy nest, feeling pretty smug.
Woo!
"When it snow," he thought, "I've got more food than any other squirrel. I'm all set for a cozy winter." But after a few days, his tummy started to rumble. "Time for a snack," he declared. He scurried out of his nest, his nose twitching in the cold air. "All right," he said to himself. "I'll start with that delicious acorn I buried by the big oak tree." He ran to the biggest oak he could find and started digging. He dug, and he dug, and he dug. He made a big pile of snow and dirt, but no acorn.
Maybe it was this oak tree,
he wondered, running to another one. He dug again. Still nothing. He tried to remember where he'd put that crunchy walnut. Was it by the red ferns or the green ferns? He couldn't quite recall. The forest looked completely different, covered in snow. All his familiar landmarks were gone. Panic started to set in. He ran around frantically, digging random holes everywhere. The forest floor soon looked like it was covered in polka dots from all his digging, but his paws were cold, and his tummy was rumbling louder than ever. He was hungry, frustrated, and getting very worried. "Oh no," he whimpered. "I worked so hard, but I can't find any of my food. I'm going to be so hungry all winter." Just then, a soft voice hooted from a branch above. "Having some trouble down there, little one?" Sammy looked up and saw a big, wise old owl with large, kind eyes. It was Professor Hoot, the wisest creature in the forest. Sammy explained his predicament, his little voice trembling. He told the owl how he had hidden hundreds, maybe thousands of nuts, but now couldn't find a single one. Professor Hoot listened patiently, nodding his head slowly.
"Ah, Sammy," he said gently.
"You are a fantastic collector, but you are not a very good organizer. You worked hard, but you didn't work smart." Sammy looked down at his paws, feeling a bit embarrassed. The wise owl continued, "Don't worry, it's a common mistake. The secret isn't just to hide your treasures, but to have a system so you can find them again." This was a new idea for Sammy. A system? What did that mean? Professor Hoot explained. Instead of burying nuts randomly all over the place, try grouping them. For example, put all your acorns under oak trees. Put all your walnuts under walnut trees. It makes them much easier to remember. The owl then shared another clever tip. And to make it even easier, he hooted, "You can create markers. Find some colorful stones. Use a red stone to mark where you've buried acorns. Use a blue stone for walnuts, and maybe a shiny white one for pecans. That way, even when the ground is covered in snow, you can spot your colorful markers and know exactly what you'll find. A little light bulb went on in Sammy's head. It was brilliant. So simple, yet so effective. It was like creating his own secret code. Professor Hoot, seeing that Sammy was cold and hungry, helped him find one of his forgotten stashes that happened to be right under the owl's own tree. Sammy ate gratefully, his energy returning with each bite. The next day, with his tummy full and his spirit renewed, Sammy got to work. But this time, he did things differently. He spent the morning digging up all the nuts he could find. It was hard work, but he was determined. Then, he started organizing. He created a huge pile of acorns, another of walnuts, and a third of hazelnuts. He followed the owl's advice perfectly. He buried all the acorns near the cluster of big oak trees on the east side of the forest. Then, he found a small, smooth red stone and placed it on top of each hiding spot. Next, he took his collection of walnuts to the grove of walnut trees by the river and marked each spot with a cool blue river stone. He continued this all day, creating neat, organized pantries all over the forest, each one clearly marked. It took time, but it felt good. He wasn't just randomly burying things anymore. He was creating a system. He even drew a little map on a big piece of bark, just in case. When the next big snow fell, Sammy wasn't worried at all. When his tummy rumbled, he simply glanced at his map, scurried over to the oak grove, spotted a red stone peeking out of the snow, and dug up a perfect acorn in seconds. He knew exactly where his food was. Winter was no longer a scary, hungry time. It was cozy and peaceful. He had plenty of food, and he had plenty of time to play in the snow and visit his friends. Sammy learned a very valuable lesson that year. It's not just about working hard, it's about working smart. Being organized, whether it's with your nuts, your toys, or your homework, saves you so much time and frustration in the long run. A little bit of planning can make a huge difference. And you know what the funny thing is? The next spring, the forest had a bunch of new little oak and walnut trees sprouting up in the most random places. These were all the nuts that Sammy had lost before he learned his lesson. So, in a way, his disorganization ended up helping the forest grow. But Sammy was much happier being an organized squirrel with a full tummy. So, what do you guys think? Have you ever lost something because you couldn't remember where you put it? I know I have. Let us know in the comments below. This story of Sammy the Squirrel is a great reminder that taking a few extra minutes to organize things can save us a lot of trouble later. It's a skill that's useful for everyone, not just squirrels. Thanks so much for watching today. We hope you enjoyed Sammy's story. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you and miss our next story. See you next time.